Let's talk about those maddening tech problems, the ones that pop up out of nowhere, especially in a busy office or a retail store. We're going to pull back the curtain on an invisible force that just might be the real culprit behind all that frustration.
Now, everything we're about to cover comes from some pretty serious detective work. This is part 6 of a 10-part series, and it's all based on a detailed report by the RFI detectives over at Virtualization Options LLC. We're zeroing in on the unique tech glitches that happen in commercial spaces.
So let me ask you something. Have you ever been at the office and the security badge reader just refuses to work? Or maybe the point of sale terminal freezes right in the middle of a sale? Yeah, you probably blame the software or a bad Wi-Fi connection, right? But what if the cause is something else entirely? Something literally in the air all around you?
Okay, it's time to give this invisible troublemaker a name. What we're talking about is radio frequency interference, or RFI for short. And honestly, it's the ghost in the machine behind so many of our modern tech headaches.
So what is it, exactly? Well, the official definition is pretty straightforward. RFI is just unwanted electromagnetic energy that messes up how our electronics are supposed to work. The best way to think about it is like static, or noise, that's drowning out the signals your devices are trying to listen to.
And here's the thing that you absolutely have to understand. It's not just about radios. No. Your computer, your security camera, even the cables connecting everything, they can all act like accidental antennas, picking up all this stray energy they were never designed to handle.
And the reason this is a much bigger deal today than ever before is because our airwaves are just unbelievably crowded. I mean, look at this list. Every single one of these devices is constantly broadcasting, shouting into the airwaves. It's created this incredibly noisy, chaotic environment, and a lot of our electronics are really struggling to hear the right signals through all that noise.
So let's bring this back to your office. How does all this invisible noise actually cause problems in a commercial building? Well, it turns out the danger here is very different from what you might find in, say, an industrial plant.
And this is where it gets really interesting. In a factory, yeah, you've got these huge high-power sources like giant motors and welders. But the equipment there is built tough, it's shielded and robust. In an office, it's the total opposite. The problem isn't one big, powerful source. It's more like death by 1,000 cuts from dozens of low-power devices like Wi-Fi and cell phones, all attacking our cheap, unshielded consumer-grade gadgets. So the real danger isn't the strength of the signal, it's the vulnerability of the target.
So what does that vulnerability actually look like in the real world? We're not just talking about little annoyances. These failures can have a serious impact on your business's productivity, its security, and yeah, its bottom line.
Just think about it for a second. When a badge reader fails, your employees can't even get into the building. When a security camera drops frames, you suddenly have a huge security blind spot. And a POS terminal that freezes up, well, that just means frustrated customers and lost sales. These are real, tangible, and very costly problems.
And believe me, it can get way more serious. Get a load of this. This is a real-world case where a brand new cell tower on a roof was actually causing a building's fire alarm to go off. The circuitry inside the alarm panel was picking up the cell signal and interpreting it as a fire. I mean, that's not just an inconvenience. That's a massive safety hazard.
Okay, so the problem is clearly real, and the stakes can be really high. But here's the good news. You don't just have to put up with it. There is a systematic way to figure out what's going on. It's time for you to become an RFI detective. The whole method is a classic 4-step investigation. First, you document. You write down every single time the problem happens, what it was, where it was, and exactly when. Second, you correlate. You look at your log and search for patterns. Does the problem only happen at lunchtime when everyone's using the microwave? Or maybe when security is doing their rounds with their radios? That's your clue. Third, you measure. This is where you might need some help or special tools to actually see all the invisible RF energy in that specific spot. And finally, number 4, you verify. You run a controlled test to prove, without a doubt, that you've found the real culprit.
Once you've found the problem, the solution is often surprisingly simple. There are some really practical, high-impact steps you can take to make your environment tougher against RFI.
And the whole strategy really boils down to one simple idea. You have to block the path that the RF energy is taking from its source to the device it's messing with. If the interference can't get to the vulnerable circuit, it can't cause a problem. Simple as that. So, one of the best and easiest solutions? Use shielded cables. An unshielded cable is basically a giant antenna, just sucking in all that interference. A properly shielded cable, on the other hand, acts like a fortress, protecting the important signals flowing inside.
And here's another awesome, super simple tool, the ferrite choke.
You've definitely seen these before. They're those little plastic cylinders you find on your laptop's power cord. They're cheap, they literally just snap right onto a cable, and they act like a filter, stopping all that high-frequency RFI noise from traveling down the wire, without affecting the useful signals at all. So I'm going to leave you with a question to think about. Next time you're at work, look around with a new set of eyes. Now that you know about this invisible threat, what do you think is the weakest link in your office's RF environment? Is it that cheap USB cable for the scanner at the front desk? The unshielded wire for a security camera? Finding that one weak spot might just be the key to solving your most annoying tech mystery.